Hi, this is Farrell. Welcome to the video and page 26 of issue 2 of Robot Todd. This is the last page. Check out that thing on the left there. But if you watch the end of the video, I'm going to show you a bunch of those little things I've been working on. Hence the lateness of this just one page. Last time I had 2 pages. Next time is going to be the cover for issue 3. So yeah, here I was kind of lettering and relettering and trying to figure out how I wanted the composition to go. I kind of got the idea of doing these inset panels as I was working on the page, because originally this was going to be, if you look from a couple of videos ago, you can see like the thumbnail I had, which was going to be a splash page, was going to be the final page. But I wanted the wizard and Peter Sailors to like have like a little bit of a conversation there. And then I thought it'd be kind of funny, I guess, to have it be like, oh, this is like a 2-way broadcast, but they don't realize it or don't care, whatever. He's trying to get the crows to bring Todd back to him, but they don't seem to be functioning properly or paying attention or whatever. But yeah, he's telling Peter to go get the specialist, which is this guy that I want to have to try to, subdue Todd and Sept and everybody. But yeah, so yeah, I'm here. I'm just kind of, after I got the idea that I wanted them to be saying something, then it was just a matter of trying to figure out where on the page I wanted to put it all, so it kind of flowed around, so your eye kind of, read this first, and then that next, and then this next. So it's kind of like a Z pattern. You can kind of see the way I kind of ended up doing it. Well, it's like there's kind of like a panel structure. Well, there is a panel structure, but it's like on it over a splash page. And I also kind of made little notes to myself to keep in mind that this was night, like a nighttime scene. So I was trying to think of like how I wanted that to look with, the sort of the crows flying around and like the color of the water and how it was framing the whole thing. And but yeah, more importantly was like the lettering. I was trying to get the dialogue down to something where I could the reader would read the word balloons in the right order. The crows, I used reference for a couple of them, and then after a while I just sort of started kind of BSing them with pencils, and then had to kind of go back and draw a little bit more as I was inking. To try to get them to look, I guess, sort of realistic-ish, like not too weird. Like, I don't think the feather count on them is all correct as far as, like, whatever, like on a raven is. But I figure these are kind of, like, weird when they have, like, little crests like a Stellar's J does. But I've never seen that on an all-black crow before, so I thought, these are kind of like fantasy creatures or little robot drones that this wizard guy created, and that do his bidding. Like in the first issue, we saw like one carrying a little sci-fi bolt, and I was thinking originally that was like a piece of Robot Todd, but now I'm not so sure if I want that to be a thing where the wizard can like separate stuff out of him. I'm going to do an issue 0 where you kind of see the events, some of the events right before issue 1. Oh yeah, here's a little plate that I had a little pencil drawing of a rabbit on. And I just put the picture in there because I just picked it up as I was inking and decided to ink it. And so now it's a little inked rabbit after years of it sitting there in pencil form. I wanted to have it like glazed and, color it and glaze it, but I just kind of use it as sort of like, little paper clips or whatever, or actually I've been using it as like a lid for my water jars. So when I don't want to actually dump the water out, and my cats will, they keep wanting to, I don't know if they're trying to drink it or what, but anyway, yeah, so here I'm inking this whole thing with a brush, a Raphaël 8404 number 2. And yeah, the little exchange there is that and I just inked the no with a brush too, but the little exchange there is that Peter's like, he's telling Peter to go get the specialist, and then Peter's like, hey, did you figure out a way or why he was disabled? Like, I wanted that line in there just to show that the wizard didn't see his sister ghost or wizard, who's now a ghost, like zapped Todd, like for whatever reason he missed observing that moment. So he's like, I don't know what happened, like why Todd got messed up, because he wants to take Todd, use him or whatever, but doesn't want to leave his wizard castle with all his screens and stuff that he is looking at constantly, like observing everything. So there it is, like inked, totally inked, lettered. I lettered it with a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, as usual, number F. And I added some of the colors, some of the blue, which look really dark here. I mean, they're pretty dark, but it looks like almost black here. But I went over them several times, different layers of gray and blue, and in the water and black. It was mostly like black and a couple of different shades of blue. And the land was all sorts of different colors mixed with gray, and I just kind of kept lightly doing layers to get it to the right, what felt kind of like a good nighttime scene. It's like I don't know. It seemed like usually my default is just, okay, it's like daylight and the sun or whatever light source is directly overhead. I didn't really think about it that much. I just was like always kind of thinking like, okay, what's the easiest thing for me way to make this look nice, I guess. But because of this is like part of the story, like I wanted there to be some sort of time passing, like maybe it's been like 6 hours or something, or 10 hours. It's like middle of the night or close to dawn, like he's just been laying there, doesn't realize how long. I also tried to have there be some consistency with the previous page as far as like the landscape goes. And like I have those, the little pink forest, little vines and stuff there on the right in the foreground. I tried to keep everything in sort of the same position, like where the water was that he came out of. The buildings and stuff in the immediate foreground, I added those. Those weren't in the previous one of him walking up from the shore. It was just kind of to fill up the space. Like when in doubt, I seemed to like add buildings like in this post-apocalyptic, I figured like it was kind of like at the bottom of the page too. So it was like, oh, maybe that was just, they're just like off camera, and I kind of left that open for lettering purposes. But, artistic license, there's a lot of that with this comic. And, so I just kind of wanted this to feel more and more like nighttime. And it seemed like the only way to do that was just basically have the only white areas be the panels. And so I decided to leave the backgrounds of the panels uncolored. I thought that might have like a nice contrast, and so we can kind of follow Todd's, from where he's at in the center of the page, like after these guys have their little conversation, and then it's sort of like the little thought bubble trail. You kind of follow it to them, their response, and then you see the little thing that says two-way broadcast, and it kind of goes off into the little pink jungle there. I didn't have any of that planned. It was, in the thumbnail stage, it was just a splash page. And so a lot of the early part of working on this was me trying to figure out how I wanted to pull the reader's eye, convey the information, have as little amount of dialogue as possible. I also wanted to add a little bit of like a little mystery at the end, like a little mini cliffhanger. Here's a little bonus section, these little set drawings I've been doing. They're going to be backup features. So the first 6 will be in the first issue, at the end of the first issue, and then you can see the different stages I went through. I almost kind of like that second stage, but then I was like, well, maybe I'll just color the last panel or, grady it. And then I thought like, oh, I'll just have his suitcase be red in the last panel. But then I went back and was like, oh, I should color his suitcase red. And that was a little agree drawing I did, a little cat from It Will Hurt who's not going to be in it. And those are the first couple drawings I did, or I was like trying to figure it out. That might actually have been the first drawing that I drew when I was visiting Palm Springs. Not bragging, not trying to brag. But and there's the splash, and these two are going to be in the second issue, the backup story in the second issue. Hey, there's a bunch of books there, and I have a Patreon too. It's like $2 a month if you want to Check out all these Robot Todd pages. Thanks.